Well, moving on, we're going to cover today's headlines one more time with our newscaster, Ray. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Sue. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
All right, let's go over the headlines.
South Korea has decided to halt a further easing of social distancing rules, speed up the administration of booster shots, and secure more hospital beds over the next 4 weeks.
Okay, so the announcement came yesterday, and of course, had everything, gone as planned at the beginning of November, officials were hoping to further ease restrictions soon, but that's not going to happen.
That's right. Mid-December was the target for that, but they've halted that plans, which means they've decided to stop that, put that on hold for now. However, President Moon Jae-in did make it clear that the government will not reverse course on its first phase measures. So they're not going to reverse that. They're going to keep those the way they are, but they're just not going to expand this program. So
we're still going ahead with the sort of first level or the first phase of living with COVID.
That's right.
So we're going to have to wait about a month, as you said, but as of yet, are we hearing anything else from the government? Anything we need to keep in mind, or is it just going to sort of be the same?
Well, the one big thing is that from Sunday, Korea restricted visa issuances and arrivals from 8 African nations, including South Africa. And this is because everybody is very concerned about the new Omicron variant. Korea is just one of the latest countries to impose these travel bans from the southern African nations. So that's one thing to keep watch of for sure. And also we have to be watching to see if we experience more cases in Korea.
And we touched on this briefly yesterday, but the Omicron variant was first discovered in southern Africa. And so 8 of the countries that will have visa restrictions and also entrance restrictions into Korea, they're all southern African countries. Foreign nationals will not be able to enter Korea at this time if they are leaving one of these southern African countries. Korean nationals will have to quarantine for at least 10 days upon arrival. Very strict measures. And all across the world, that is what's happening. The countries there in Africa are not very happy about it. In fact, in South Africa, they said these are unfounded, there's no reason to restrict travel for people here. But nonetheless, that is the reality. All right, let's move on to headline number 2.
U.S. top medical advisor Anthony Fauci has warned that the U.S. could potentially experience a 5th wave of COVID and has recommended people receive booster shots to blunt its severity.
Okay, so Anthony Fauci, the top medical expert in Washington, has said there's the danger of another wave of COVID, and so people should receive their booster shots or their initial shots ASAP.
Yeah, and this is definitely also connected to the new Omicron variant as well. He mentioned that he warned that this newly discovered variant does show signs of heightened transmissibility. The first cases in North America were actually confirmed in Canada, and these were 2 people who had recently traveled to Nigeria. So, which is not in southern Africa.
Right.
So that's another thing where a lot of these travel bans, we can ban countries in southern Africa, but people could still be carrying it and travel from other countries as well. So that's another thing to sort of keep in mind here. Fauci did say that although it's not in the U.S. at the moment, it is inevitable that it will eventually reach the U.S., and that was one of the reasons why he's really, urging people, almost pleading with people who aren't vaccinated to get vaccinated, and people who have been vaccinated to get the booster shot. Because here is a kind of a bit of a concerning stat. 62 million Americans who are eligible to be vaccinated have not yet gotten vaccinated.
And we'll take a look at that story briefly.
Right, that's more than the population of Korea.
That is.
Right? So if you put it in that context, there's a lot of people in the U.S. who are not vaccinated.
Absolutely. That's going to be one of our news coverages coming up shortly. Let's move on to headline number 3.
K-pop sensation BTS held its first in-person concert in 2 years in Los Angeles on Saturday, drawing about 50,000 fans.
The last time they had an in-person concert in America was in 2019, so it's been about 2 years.
And this is a brand new stadium in Los Angeles. This is where the Los Angeles Rams play. I've watched some football games from there.
Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like a pretty awesome stadium. This is the first concerts that have been sold out there. BTS did this. They sold out 4 concerts.
And
So
that's the first time for this stadium.
yeah, first it's a new stadium, so
yeah.
but still, that's still it's still a feat, you could say, an accomplishment. 50,000 fans. That's a huge amount of people. They sold out Saturday, Sunday, and then they have shows also on Wednesday and Thursday this week. And this is part of their big Permission to Dance on Stage tour.
비교적 이제 새로운 스테디움이기는 하지만 이 5만 명 객석이 있는 공연장이 이렇게 4회 연속 매진된 건 처음이라고 합니다. Record after record. That's what BTS likes to go and break.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to be on a bunch of the talk shows this week as well, American talk shows.
Wow, there you go. All right, let's move on to our next headline.
The EU's border agency is slated to deploy a plane over the English Channel to monitor migrant crossings from December after 27 drowned in the deadliest crossing on record.
This is not too long ago, and it was shocking news when dozens of migrants, they were crossing the channel and the boat, did it sink? And they ended up dying.
It was an inflatable boat or whatever it was. Did
see.
it pop? Yeah, but they unfortunately drowned. And European migration officials, they agreed on this new deployment of airplanes at an emergency meeting on Sunday in the French port city of Calais. They also pledged to work together closely against migrant smuggling networks and also the trade of inflatable boats. Now, the UK was not a part of this meeting. An invitation to the UK to join this meeting was actually withdrawn. The EU had extended it. They withdrew it after Prime Minister Boris Johnson published the text of a letter he sent to French President Macron setting out his own 5-point plan to tackle the problem.
Right. Now, migrants and refugees alike, they have been crossing this channel, the English Channel, for years and years. It's not something that's just
Brand
happened
new,
recently. No, this happened for centuries, I believe, for a very, very long time.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what it says in some of the reports I've read. Because it is the shortest crossing between France's Calais and Dover in England. So a lot of people, migrants that is, they do tend to cross this channel. And this time around, as you said, they were in this inflatable boat, which apparently led to many people drowning.
Even some children were on there. A lot of them were Iraqi Kurds and a Somalian, I read, among others. So, right, this is... it's one of these things where they really need to start tackling these migrant networks as well, and better monitoring of the ports as well would also probably be something they should be looking into.
All right. I'll leave that story there and move on to our final headline.
New research suggests that anxiety symptoms in late middle-aged adults may be an indicator of the earliest stage of Alzheimer's disease.
So we're looking at what sort of age group? Late middle-aged. So would that be, do you think, maybe 50s?
Middle-aged?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't say in the article, so maybe around
exactly.
30, 40, 50. I would imagine it's in that area.
Right.
That would be my understanding of it.
Okay.
This study was led by Australia's Monash University Turner Institute for Brain and Mental Health. The researchers examined the relationship between symptoms of depression and anxiety and memory and thinking in over 2,600 middle-aged adults. They found that higher anxiety is related to poorer attention and memory. And people with high depressive and anxiety symptoms also reported more concerns about their own memory and thinking.
And there's been a lot of research, obviously, on Alzheimer's. No cure for it. But of course, this is worrying because people who are maybe right now in their late middle-aged, stage of their lives, if they are experiencing anxiety, they might want to get another health checkup, get some expert advice, because we don't want it to progress to anything more than that.
Right. So the researchers said the findings suggest that anxiety in midlife may increase a person's risk of developing dementia later in life, but they also did say more research is needed to understand
Sure.
exactly what's happening in the brain.
And that's why it doesn't say this research says, or it defines.
It suggests.
It suggests, meaning, this is a possibility.
Exactly. It's a possibility based on what they're seeing, but they need to continue to research this more.
Absolutely. All right, well, that was a look at our 5 headlines this morning.